Hey everyone, in the old world, skirmishers get a bit of a bad rap for having a messy set of rules and being able to break the game in a way that formed units can't. So I thought I'd show a tactic that an opponent, Chris, used against me to some effect on the weekend, where when charging, you can manipulate the way the skirmishers have to form up against the charging unit to be able to make space for your other units to be able to be effective on the board. So the rules that we're looking for on the screen, when a formed unit charges a unit of skirmishers, it goes nearest to nearest, and then the skirmishing unit has to make its way over and form a fighting rank at, well, to maximize, we presume, against the fighting rank of the opponent. This means that they can be pulled away from, so usually dispersed widely and be tightened up. There are some tricks to this where if a unit or a model is more than its movement characteristic away from where it would end up, the FAQ says that it dies. But in general, I'm just going to focus on how sometimes these types of units are used to screen, or skirmishing units are, and that by charging in the right spot, you can manipulate that screen to open avenues to charge. So what we're looking at is that I am playing High Elves. I am trying to hang on here to give my dragon another turn to be able to, after successfully killing this Razor Gore, restraining and reforming and coming in and attacking some of these, the greater spawn of gigantic spawn of Nurgle or the Dragon Ogres. I have a Tempest in the middle, and I've moved my sisters, 10 strong Sisters of Avalon unit out of the woods to try to block what you can see, a pathway for the gigantic spawn of Nurgle towards my block of Silverhelms that has my Battle Standard Bearer and an Archmage in it. So I usually play with Walk Between Worlds up. I hadn't been able to cast it last round, so I had moved them away, hoping to just survive another turn. What I had done, or what I thought I'd done deliberately, was set up in a way that the gigantic spawn of Nurgle would have to hit the front of my skirmishing unit and set a fighting rank here. And if it overran, it would then overrun straight forward and not be able to hit the unit of Silverhelms. What instead happened is that Chris declared a charge. He had a Razor Gore on the other side of this wood, but he declared a charge with the Dragon Ogres. The nearest point was to the one on the screen left, and that, sorry, in the middle, I think, and it set, regardless, it tightened up this fighting rank. That meant I had to pull in all of my sisters and create this combat here, which then brought the Razor Gore in from the side too. I believe if the Razor Gore had made this charge as well, it would have created a fighting rank over here, which might have been even worse for me, but the Razor Gore charge was a little more dicey and might not have made it. What then happened was that the gigantic spawn was able to move through, and in some respects, the gigantic spawn has that compulsory movement where you might think, oh, well, didn't have to declare a charge, but if we'll go back to the image in a second and see that it did have that laneway. So if you see here that it would have been able to declare a charge, or any unit would have been able to declare a charge because it could draw line of sight to the Silverhelms. And that means that if you'd known that this was the way that you were going to coordinate, so here we go, you can see that on the far left of the screen, the closest is this connecting point here. So that's where we're going to rank up. And I'm not going to be able to keep this little set of models blocking the way to my Silverhelms in place. I probably should have been able to move. To do this again, I need to angle these in a way backwards where the closest model is still gonna set up a fighting rank, even if it drew accidental contact. However, I had thought about these overrun lanes, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to prevent the Silverhelms being connected with at the end of the turn. Maybe the dragon would have been enough to come in later, but I had, in this case, made a mistake, and it was very clever of Chris to manipulate that to his advantage. Because what he was able to do, just to finish off the story, he was able to get in. He put all of his attacks into this archmage who was very poorly defended and killed it. And even though I had War Banner, Battle Banner in this unit and was able to I fall back in good order and then reform. And then later I'm able to attack this unit of Dragon Ogres. The Gigantic Spawn had just got all of its points back, killing a 290 point model, I believe, in this game for its 165 or 170, whatever Gigantic Spawn Nurgles cost. So that's how it works. I think you may be frustrated playing against skirmishing screens or skirmishes in general, but there are clever ways of positioning and charging that can dilute their effects a little bit. So I hope from watching today, you may have seen one way of doing that. Well played to Chris. He beat me in that first round and went on to win the tournament. And that seemed very deserving in the end. Thanks again for watching.